He did catch himself at the last minute, and she watched as his head arched back, watching her dog easily soar overhead to deliver a perfect landing in front of him. Eeyore, appearing more than proud of himself, sat a few feet in front of the man, the Frisbee in his teeth, his mouth turned up in what appeared to be a satisfied grin. It appeared her very naughty dog wanted to be praised for his impressive catch. Patsy tried to screech to a stop, but her forward momentum apparently was too much for her sandals, and, much to her horror, and the poor fate of the man who hadn't dealt with enough crazy for the day, Patsy stumbled right into his solid back. He barely moved forward as she bounced off him and flew backward, landing ungracefully hard on the ground, pain instantly flaring in her butt as tears sprang to her eyes. The man turned sideways, looking incredulously from her to her dog, then back to her. Patsy wanted to bury her head in her hands and pray for a freak thunderstorm that would send every single witness of her misery scurrying for shelter. If a few of them were struck, that would be okay too. But contrary to most days in Seattle, Washington, the sun remained sunny, and as she looked around the crowded park, she had no doubt she and her dog had gained a lot of attention. Finally, Patsy's voice came back and her mouth gaped open as she tried not to stare at the enticing sheen of sweat on the man's muscled chest. "I'm so sorry. I have no idea what just happened," Patsy said, her voice coming out too high in her rush to apologize. Just then, Eeyore let out a happy bark and trotted over, his prize Frisbee still secured between his teeth. He lay down next to her and gazed at the man, no apology at all in his happy eyes. Apparently, he believed the Frisbee was now his. "Looks like you got shown up by a dog," a guy yelled, laughter coming through loud and clear in his tone. "Yep, looks like it," the man replied. Patsy's stomach clenched at the deep baritone of the stranger's voice. With the adrenaline of the moment dying down, Patsy let her gaze travel up the muscular calves of the man in front of her, to the hem of his shorts, and higher. What she saw made her mouth go dry as she realized she was checking him out in a very unladylike manner. Her cheeks heated with color as she shifted her gaze back to the man's worn tennis shoes. At least this was Seattle, and the chances of her running into the man again were pretty much zilch. She only had to get through this awkward moment, then she could be on her merry way. He dropped to the ground, the muscles in his thighs shifting as his face came into view. Hot damn. Her dang dog would have to climb up on the back of one of the sexiest men she'd looked at in a while. And considering she was a plastic surgeon resident, that was saying a lot. The man was giving her his full attention, and those deep brown eyes seemed to see right into her soul. She couldn't remember the last time someone had looked at her so intensely. It made her already rapidly beating heart practically thump out of her chest. "Are you okay?" he asked. Patsy had flashes of a storm returning, but this time she was envisioning the entire park clearing out, except for the two of them. The instant lust was so shocking, she didn't know what to think or say. She'd been in medical school for so long she hadn't had time to sit down and eat, let alone think about men. But now she was starting a new job and was finally going to feel like an adult, instead of a child constantly doing homework. She didn't want or need to ogle men. Her career was important to her. Besides that, her brother-in-law, Ryan Titan, seemed to find it his personal mission in life to make sure men didn't so much as glance at her. He still thought of her as the child she'd been when he'd married her.